Okay, thank you, robot. Um, Now I get to read you more from the script. Great, let's get started. Your first task will be converting an implementation of the priority queue data structure from Java to Python, and you'll do this one without the AI support. Your second task will be converting to an implementation of the tree. Steve, did I pronounce that correctly, or is it try?
Most folks around here pronounce it try.
I
I was a student of the inventor of it, and he pronounced it tree. But
That one, the TRIE data structure
yes,
from
it's
Java to
tree as in
Python.
retrieval.
I
Actually.
haven't implemented either of those in a while. Okay. Quite a
Okay.
while.
I didn't know the derivation. Thank you, Steve. Um,
Cool.
And you'll do the second one on the tree try retrieval thingy with the AI support. We'll also take a break between the two tasks since this session will take about 2 hours. First, let me tell you a bit more about the code translation task. The task is to produce a complete and working Python translation within 30 minutes. By complete, I mean that all of the functionality and documentation from the Java code should be translated. And by working, I mean that the Python code should be tested for correctness. As I mentioned earlier, there's more work to do to accomplish an absolutely perfect translation than what can be done within 30 minutes. So really, I'm asking you to do just as much as you can in the time that you have. But there may be trade-offs in how you spend your time, such as whether you choose to translate all of the functionality first or to translate a portion of it while testing it to make sure it works. How you navigate this trade-off is completely up to you. There are no wrong answers. There are a few other things I should mention about this task. You'll be using an online version of the VS Code editor in this study, which has a few minor differences from the desktop app. In general, all of the menu commands and keystrokes are available and should just work, but please do let me know if you encounter any difficulties. I won't be able to answer any technical questions about the code or what it's supposed to do, but I can tell you that the Java implementation is correct. The Java implementation. When you make the translation, please try to preserve the naming of class and method names, but we're less concerned with how you name variables. You can also use whatever resources you feel would be helpful, such as searching the web or Stack Overflow, or running any of the code since we've installed Java and Python in the editor. I'll give you a 5-minute warning when time is almost up so you know when to when to start wrapping up your work. I need to learn to read the script better. We also ask that as you work on the tasks, you think out loud and tell us about what you're thinking and what you're doing. This really helps us understand how you approach the task and what you're thinking about as you do it. If you're quiet, I'll remind you to keep thinking out loud. Do you have any questions before we get started?
Yeah, I guess we'll give it a try. Like 30 minutes. Yeah, right. Okay.
Great. Good.
I've
Thank
been
you.
programming enough to know how realistic that is. Okay.
No one's finished so far, just so you know. Let's see. This part looks like it's addressed to me. Ask you to share your screen, so please share your screen. Great, thank you. We may ask you to adjust the zoom level depending upon what happens when we start the editor. And I need to find there it is. No, there it isn't. Here it is. In the chat, I will share a link with you to get to the editor and to begin to do the task. Here is the link. Steve has done this before. This is my first time running the session. So Steve, please save me if I do anything wrong.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm keeping an eye.
looks like I need to start my VPN, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, this looks very safe. Well, let me guess, it's a normal IBM certificate, meaning self-signed and horrible. Okay, yeah, I guess I'll trust you. I guess I should check. I mean, I'm using Firefox, as you can see.
Hmm.
Assume that's supported.
Yeah, that error does pop up with Firefox and not with Safari or Chrome.
Interestingly, in this case, I think
but
I
it
actually
still
trust
works.
Firefox more because, yeah, that actually probably is correct, the error they're giving, since I really doubt you have a proper certificate, given that half of IBM doesn't.
You are
Indeed.
correct.
Could I ask you to make that slightly bigger?
Yes, although,
Perfect. Thank you.
okay,
It-
that how's this?
that is great. Thank you very much. That'll just help us later when we try to rerun the video and see what you were talking about
Okay,
as you speak. Okay.
sounds good. Should I give it a try?
If you would, thank you. And I will
Okay,
start
let's
the
see.
timer.
See if I remember any Python. Okay, or Java, or anything. Okay, so we have here priority queue, comparable find, it has a heap, a list. Okay, so I guess I should just give it a start. Class, I'll probably just copy over here. So we have a class priority queue. Since I like types, I'm probably going to wind up doing that. Something. Just do that for now. Okay. It's embarrassing how often I forget basic syntax, though, because I know too many programming languages and switch between them, so then I forget things. Okay, so we're going to have here basically a heap is going to be a list of. I don't really want to deal with generics right now. No, I don't. In theory, I would do it properly with generics, but I don't know if I feel like doing that given the time pressure. Okay, so it looks like there's no actual way to initialize it with something. So self.heap. Okay, great. So now we have a constructor. I'm assuming by copying documentation, I don't need to copy really pointless documentation like this is a constructor. So I'm going to skip that. Because if you can't figure out it's a constructor, you shouldn't be reading the code. Okay. Let's see, this is, I guess, the class documentation. Presumably jobs are replaced by Python, although that doesn't seem like a huge priority here. Okay, now we go to insert something. So insert self item. And incidentally, this is going to, what does it return? Nothing. I'll just leave that like that. Okay, index is heap.size. So sure, index equals, what is it, len or something like that. Then we have, I mean, it looks like I should be able to just pretty much copy the code over line by line, so I'll give it a try. Index dot, isn't it like append, sorry, heap dot append, isn't it why, oh, right, they're both stupid. Self dot heap dot, is it append? Okay, so normally in my editor, here we go. It gives a object, okay, because I can never remember append versus the other one, extend or whatever. So we want to append it. And then let's do the loop here. Okay, well, index greater than 0. I think we have loops too, so may as well copy it pretty much like that. Parent index equal index minus 1 over 2. It looks like, let's just start copying and go from there. Parent index is index minus 1 over 2. Okay, that code pretty much should look, oops. That code pretty much looks the same. I'm trying to mumble out loud. I hope that's
It's
helpful.
great. You're doing really good. Thank you.
Parent equals, okay, self dot heap, of course, dot, actually, Get. Remember to raise have not get even. Anyway, it's just this, right? It is a list. So a parent index if parent dot compare to I don't remember what this is an int. This is going to be awkward. I don't remember. Does Python have a compare to thing? Oh, there we go. And compare to, okay, not really. It doesn't seem worth doing that. This is just compare to item is less than 0. Oh shoot, parent, sorry, this would have been, I'm just going to use any here as opposed to T, which is really what I want, but at least we'll mark which are the objects that I'm having to deal with generic. So if I was really writing this code and I had a few more minutes, I would use a T here and use a generic var, because I like types, but again, then I have to deal with the type error, the errors that result when I mess it up. So I'll just use any, but this will at least keep me sane. Okay, so if parent compare to items, so this has to be some kind of order type. I think you just use one to think of just parent compared to less than 0 is just parent less than, no, not just less than or equal to item. So if it's less than item, then we're going to do self dot heap dot, no, not dot, of parent index equal item and self dot heap. Did I mess up? Copied too much. Okay, wow, I feel like a very poor compiler here. That's why I write compilers instead of being a compiler normally. Okay, so index equals parent index. Okay, that looks fine. Else break. Does Python even have break? I don't know, but it has return, so whatever. Okay, great. That looks like insert, which I guess I'm supposed to copy over comments. Great, something like this. Yeah, I guess it's supposed to be a dot comment, is it? Yeah, fine. Isn't that like 2 of them or something? I'm not really gonna try switching down to Sphinx style documentation right now. It seems a little pointless since it's been run out of time anyway. Okay, let's just copy these 2. Okay, size is just self dot, what is it, len self dot heap. Okay, it's a little weird. I'm calling it size. Probably in more idiomatic Python. Well, I'd either call it len or I think there's might even be a way you can override length, but like underscore length or something like that. But again, I also don't know what the requirements are in terms of how much I'm supposed to change the code to be more idiomatic Python versus just, make Python code that works the same. Yeah, okay, fine. Okay, so remove self. Oh wait, no, that can't be right. I messed up again, didn't I? Oh no, yeah, no, removes the highest priority item. That's why it doesn't take an item. Fine. If heap size, of course, I also have no idea if any of this code is going to run. So at some point I should give it a try, but we'll be optimistic. It's easy enough to just write it all and then run tests and fix up what's broken. I'm not worried about the fundamental design. Stupid things are easy to fix at the end in this case. So in this case, just return, I guess, none. Seems like probably the equivalent contract. So we have index. Yeah, so at the end you might get a bunch of code that's never been run once and there's lots of problems, but you said you don't actually care, so fine. So we get the length. Yeah, the comment looks about right. We get an element, which by the way isn't one of our objects. We're faking it. Okay, equals 0, right? Because we're getting the first element. Okay, so this guaranteed, just sanity checking the code, that there's something in it. This is getting the first element, which of course is what we actually want to return from the heap. And then we're going to take the last item in for the first and then convert it back into a heap because it's not a heap anymore. Okay, fine, good. So the code looks correct. I know you told me it's correct, but it doesn't hurt to understand what's happening. So we're going to take the 0th element of the heap and we're going to set it from the last element. And then we're going to remove the last element. This also looks horribly unidiomatic. Isn't there like a Python pop or something? I mean, it just gets irritating to be that ugly. List Python pop or something like. Yeah. Removes an item and returns the removed item. Yeah, I mean, basically, I just want pop. So this is just going to be heap 0 equal heap dot pop, and that just seems a lot cleaner and nicer than this. And it's the same thing. Okay, heapify. So we're going to call self.heapify, and of course, we need to liberally add selfs everywhere here. This is where debugging is helpful. You run it once and you discover, oops, Python is annoying. Self.heap. Well, I already knew that, but self.heap. Again, I'm just attempting stream of consciousness so that you can, well, I don't know if this is a good or bad thing, but have fun. Self.heap.size. Why? Now, this is an interesting question because I changed the behavior with pop. So here we removed the index. Shoot, the problem is this heap.remove. What does it do? Is there documentation somewhere? I should have just left it alone. Problem is it actually pop it off and change the size or no? Okay, seriously, come on. Of course, I searched the wrong thing. Garbage in, garbage out. Java latest removes it, and shifts it. Okay, so it's going to change the size. So the size already changed here in the original code, so it changes in the current one as well. So it's just going to be length of that, which, by the way, you could just call size too. But okay, anyway. Isn't this just self.size? Anyway, I'll assume heapify cares because it has some like recursive behavior or something. Return element. Right, so that sounds fine. So at this point, I've now butchered the code, and as a result, thanks to my tweaks, it probably doesn't work anymore, but that's what testing is for. How many more methods are there? Not a huge amount. How much more time do I have, by the way, roughly?
You have 18 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, why don't I just give it a try converting these things, and then I'll find out how broken it is. Like in that case, let's get ambitious. Okay, there's remove. Wait, what did I just do? Remove, didn't I already convert size? Oh, I did. I just didn't convert these. Okay, where's the like replace all? Here we go. Okay, fine. At least get rid of those, and probably I can get rid of all of those. Yeah, that'd be handy. Eh. Okay, well, we'll find out how broken that made it, but at least the comments aren't being too annoying now. I already converted this over. There's no linter here, so nothing to yell at me, I guess. Okay, so we're gonna peek, and of course this needs to take self too. Right. Squirrely simple things. Did I mess up here? Did I leave all those braces? Okay, else return bye all the braces. Okay, wrong business. Def peak any, we're just gonna return, this is gonna be awkward. They have a get function, because if they do, that would be good. No, they don't. Okay, fine. So I'm gonna have to actually check, because heap.get is probably bad plan. I'm guessing, does this get throw an exception? If so, I guess it's fine. If you want to have the same behavior, I better make sure I know what that's doing. Okay, what does it do? Oh, array index out of bounds. Okay, it's fine. So same behavior, will throw an exception. So it doesn't return like an option or none or something. Where am I? Oh, here. Okay, fine. So I'll just do the same thing. Exception it is. Okay, so now we have def is empty. What am I doing? Self. This is going to return a Boolean. And let's see, this is going to return a self.heap. Is there an is empty? Actually, I can just do this. So not self.heap, right? That's idiomatic. That'll work for, yeah, we know it's not none, so yeah, it works. Okay, so wait, if self.heap is true, that means it's not empty. Okay, good. There we go. Def enumerate. Okay, this fine. Wait, what's this doing here? Oh, it's turning a list. That's weird. Why is it returning a? Oh, okay, fine. We can do that. This is going to return a list of my T, which I'm calling any, so that that's easy enough to go back, search, I'm using any to mean T, so I could just go back and search replace that later if I want to deal with the types. Just historically, that's going to add a few minutes. Worth it, but not now. Okay, so we have I did import it, didn't I? Yeah. Okay. Great. So now we have one of these. We have equals another one of these. Oh, just what is it? Copy dot. Oh yeah, no, just a list. That's it. Okay, great. We made a copy. And now results equals new thing while not self.heap.empty. It's a bit of an odd way to do it, to be honest, but and this is a self.heap. Self's everywhere. While self.remove. Did I screw that up here too? Let's see. Self.heap. I know I got that one. Okay, fine. So results dot append self dot remove. Okay, this actually may have a chance of being right. We pop the top thing off as long as it's not empty. Okay, fine. And then we say self dot heap equals the saved heap, and then we return the results. Again, a little odd to modify ours in place, but I would have done it differently, but that's fine. Doesn't really matter. Get rid of this thing here. Def add all, takes a self, returns. Oh, what am I doing? Sorry, it takes a self and takes a collection, which what is it? Iterable of any, I guess, or something like that. And here we're gonna say right, that should be something like that for element in collection self dot insert element. I mean, I think the same code works, except of course I need to import iterable. Okay, we have add all now. Okay, blah blah blah. Here here we go. What's next? We have Heapify. Okay, the Mojo, the main thing here to make sure it works. And then if I have time left, I can even try running this. Maybe I should try to run out of time before I have to do that. Might be safer. I have a lot of confidence in my code running the first time, can't you tell? My years of experience. I'm confident roughly this code will work, but it actually working the first time in Python. Yeah. Okay, if size, okay, so this is restore section right. Okay, if size greater than 0, left index. Well, I'm gonna guess that I'm one of the few people that are actually somewhat pervasively using MyPy style types as part of when they're changing the code instead of just deleting them all. Comes from being a type person. Okay, so we get the index. No, this of course is wrong too. Self heap index. We're gonna just assume it's inbounds. The existing code does it, so why shouldn't I? If left is less than size, and whoops. Okay. I mean, luckily, pretty much all these are errors. It's the first time you run it, you'll get bitter complaints, and they're easy to fix. Okay. Self.heap.get. Nope. Left index. Okay, and we're comparing to parent greater than 0, so we're saying that it's greater than parent. I think that in Python, yes, it's greater to compare, assuming the thing overrides greater. If not, oops. Self dot, at some point, I think maybe I would have search replace this, but I think my search replace foo isn't strong enough. So if that's greater than self dot heap dot right, okay, more things. Just reminding me why I write compilers. Okay. There we go. Max index is all indices. This is part of, these are the heap. That's a straight period. Max index fine. Swap them. Okay, wrong comment style. Wasn't gotten by my search replace. What's this anyway? This is mod, isn't it? No, that's times 2. Oh, that's funny. Of course, I knew that search replace would get me in trouble. Okay. Okay, so heap index equals heap. Of course, I need to add selfs, and I'll do that in a minute. Okay, then we're going to call, let's see, self dot. I remember how to use cursor with VS Code. That would have been easier, but that's okay. I'll call heapify with ourself. Get rid of that. Okay, this code actually looks like it has some chance at doing something, like complaining. Great, so I did this. Now I'm supposed to figure out how do I run it in this environment, if I can ask. Not a technical what code I should write, but I don't know the environment setup.
Me too. Steve, can you help? I'm sorry.
There's a run button up at the top, little green triangle.
Oh, so can I just write code down here? I'll assume I don't even have to write check if it's the main, like if whatever thing is main,
Yeah, that's fine.
write code.
Yeah, you can write your own like test function down there and call it, or however you want to do it.
Okay, test. Okay, let's give something a try. X equal, what's this thing called again? A priority queue. X dot insert. Let's try adding in the number 3, the number 5, and the number 4. Getting ambitious here, right? And then we'll do this nice enumerate thing here. There's a really odd return type. It should return an iterator, but I just tried to keep it the same for now. For I and x dot enumerate, print line I, no, print, right? Oops, something like that. Okay, let's try it. See how badly it fails. Woo! That was fast. And really easy. So, sort of annoying that you have to run Python code just to find stupid bugs, but so it is. Not self, right. So that's while not self.help empty. You don't really need the parentheses. I guess it's a style issue. That, however, is not a style issue. Neither is this. Oh, only like 5 of them. Oh, that's pretty good. Okay, well in Python that just goes to damn. Okay, let's try it again. More invalid syntax. Woohoo! No, just run. Okay, making progress. Line 1 cell right here.
5-minute warning, right, Michael?
In 3, 2, 1. Yes, 5-minute warning.
Okay.
It's like,
Thank
no,
you, Steve.
I'm still fixing the stupid bugs. This must be what? Okay, now there's like a more real error. Where is this line here? Okay. While what? List indices must be integers or slices. Which line was that again? Sorry, that's parent index. Parent index is supposed to be an integer. Oh shoot. This is probably going to be wrong because I don't. Shoot. Wait, isn't there like an interdivision stupid thing in Python? It's like double slash or something, probably. Yeah. I don't actually know if it rounds the same way, so, but it probably does. Probably we did want to use floor here, so that's probably correct. If not, that's a bug I'll eventually not have time to fix. Best bugs are the ones you know you're not going to fix. Okay, why is enumerate take an argument anyway? Oh, right. Python. What else did where else did I forget self? Oh, not bad. Okay, list attribute is no empty. Woo! Okay, self.heap, where is that? Come on. Here we go. While not is empty. So while self.heap actually is correct. One case, I guess Python's more compact, certainly. Okay, out of range. That means I screwed something up here. Self.heap 0 is going to be the pop of it. Why is this not working? This is where I convert over the logic. I probably screwed it up. That was a mistake. Let me just put back the original, and that'll be far safer in terms of getting it right, and I can always make it nicer later. The self.heap. Actually, I think I know what the problem is, but that's okay. I'm just gonna do it in one line. Yeah, I know what the issue is. When I truncate it and adjust the indices is different, and so as a result, right, anyway, I know what the bug is, but this actually is the easiest fix because now the 0 is in bounds before and I truncated too early, and so it didn't exist anymore as opposed to this behavior where it overrides it. Woohoo, okay, good, I found the bug. X not in list, okay, come on, people. Self.heap.remove. Oh, first of all, what the heck did I do there? Index? Why isn't what? Oh, it's called pop. Yeah, it does take an index, so that's good. Although I don't actually need to give it that because it's the end thing anyway, I think. But there we go. Woo! 543. That actually might look correct, although I don't know. Was this supposed to be in greatest order, I guess? Yeah, higher priority item first. Okay, something actually worked. I put them in the wrong order. Okay. I doubt I have time to test all the things like pop and peak and stuff, but still, that's pretty neat. Okay, well, I can try here. I don't really need a test for this, right? Let's try print x dot size. And why don't we try print x dot peak? And what did I screw up? Wait, why is this? What? Okay, that size is 3. Top is 5. It prints 5, 4, 3. I think it might work. I mean, if I have time, I guess I can write some more tests. I
Well,
suppose.
you have 20 seconds. So
I will just rest on my laurels and declare victory, pending
okay.
votes.
Wow, that was amazing. I will go back now. That was amazing was not part of the script. I will go back to the script now.
Nice job.
Yeah, I'll say. So now it is time to do the post-task questionnaire, which I will put into the chat. Now
By the
I'm
way,
back on
do
script.
you is this saved somewhere that you have access to, or do you want me to send you the file before I accidentally close it or something? Or
Oh,
Just
Steve
save
knows
it.
how to do that.
File save. And from the hamburger menu.
file save. Okay.
I actually think it automatically saves, but I get
Okay.
nervous, like you did. You
I mean, I don't need this priority queue for anything, so really it's okay if it gets lost.
never know when you're going to need a Python priority.
After all. Anyway, we need it, so thank you for saving it. Then, Steve, I think we're ready for the survey. Is that right?
I think so.
Okay. And so, Avi, there it is. And thank you again for continuing with this.
Okay, I go to chat. Survey. Ooh, you can even watch me fill out the survey. How amusing.
And if you have comments about the questions in the survey, then, we'd like to hear those too.
Right. So what's my participant ID?
P10, P like Patricia 10.
Okay, condition, no AI, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Data structure, priority queue.
Yeah.
I agree to the policy privacy that I'm too lazy to read. Okay.
Yes.
We'll assume it doesn't have anything nefarious since I actually don't care what you do with this data. How mentally demanding was the task? I don't know. I mean, you already gave me the code. Mostly it was changing over semicolons, braces, not being too stupid. I don't know. I'll call it a 10 for seems like a nice in the middle number. How hard a rush was the pace of the task? I don't know. There was some sense of urgency because you said there was a time limit, but I feel like I may have actually finished it, so it couldn't have been too rushed. I mean, again, I say I feel because in the absence of more testing, it's like, I'm not actually fully confident in my code, but how hard? I'll just do a 10 again. I mean, sorry if you want these numbers normalized, it's a little challenging because
You're doing fine.
and how so were you accomplishing what you were asked to do? I don't know. I think I got it. How hard do you have to work? I don't know. I definitely had to focus. 10, I guess. How insecure, annoyed was I? I don't know. Wasn't very insecure. No more so than usual when I'm writing code. How to describe your overall approach for how you worked in this task? Copy, paste, fix, pray. To what extent do you feel you understood the general data that works? I mean, it wasn't complicated. Why? Code is not very complicated. I mean, the most complicated part was heapify. And its implementation is pretty straight. It's pretty simple. It's not like doing some crazy, it's not like a red-black chain. You have to figure out what rotate left and rotate right means and figure out and make sure it's actually working. or a split tree or something. Okay, fine. I don't know. Seems fine.
Okay. Great. I think, Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, we've reached the break.
It's time for break.
It's
Okay,
time for a
break out
break.
the orange.
Desired.
Let's take 5 minutes and then we'll return. And I think we can just, keep the recording running. So good. See you in 5 minutes. Thank you
Okay.
very much. This has been great.
Sure. It's funny while when I was filling out that initial thing to see whether I should do the study or not, it's amusing looking at the categories, and I'm like, well, because like on the one hand, okay, I haven't actually written any Java in a couple of years now, although at one point I was working on the X10 compiler and wrote both X10 and Java, as
Wow.
well as plenty of other Java. And then I'm like, oh, about splay trees. I mean, technically, I mean, I certainly haven't implemented one in the last few years. When I was in grad school, though, I actually both implemented and formally verified in Coq an implementation of a splay tree and showed that it meets the behavior, both it's correct and implements a finite map interface. So I'm like, so in that sense, like many years ago, I definitely implemented a splay tree.
Well, we're working with people with all sorts of backgrounds and all sorts of recent experiences. So thank you. This is good.
Sure. It was just funny. I'm like, splay tree in
Mhm.
particular is near to my heart. Well, I've forgotten how it works at this point. At one point, I spent way too many lines proving it.
I could tell you stories like that from my domain also. Yes, I used to know how to do that. I wonder what it is now. Okay, instructions for part 2. I'm going back to the script, so you'll hear me do my script voice. In this task, you'll transform the tree or trie data structure from Java to Python with the help of an AI code translation system. This system is able to automatically translate code from Java to Python, but it's not a perfect system, so the translated code may contain errors in it. We used this system ahead of time to create a Python translation for you, which you'll see when you open the editor. How you use this translation to help you complete the task is entirely up to you. For this task, please put your solution into the tree.py file. And I need to press return in the chat so you can see the next link, which is now there.
Yeah, I think you just closed the other one. If you didn't close it.
Okay, I did not, but I can. I left it open because I didn't know if I was supposed to close it or not.
Right.
Okay, so now we have, I'm going again from Java.
Okay, I started the timer. Good, thank you.
I'm converting over to try. Ugh, let's chop things in the way. Here, and there's this AI try. Okay, let me look at the code briefly. Try node children is word. Okay, fine. Oh, got it. So you know if it's terminal as well as potentially having children, that makes sense. Okay, looks pretty straightforward. This, oh, I guess they did the copy paste for me. Ooh, they even switched over the comments. Yeah, I'll save time. Sure. I'll just copy this over here, and they're doing some of the stupid stuff, hopefully. I just need to make sure they didn't mess it up too badly. Okay, so we have. Okay, first of all, let's add some stuff in here just for my insanity. We're gonna have children is going to be a try node. Oh wait, actually, depending what version, you can even do this. Okay, children is a try node, is word is a boolean. Okay, great. Self.children. Oh no, it's not a try node. What am I saying? Oh, it's a dictionary from characters. I don't even know what that is in Python. So it looks like, oh, this is interesting. So here it's looking it up. So it's treating children. Okay, so children is, okay, a map from CH. Will that work? Oh, it'd be nice if it translated types too, just saying. So this is going to be a dictionary from, right now, I'll assume strings. I don't need to type the types in here, but I need to figure out what the types are. So, import what? Dict string probably. I thought string is built in. Anywho, okay, so we have init. I wasted too much time there. Children is empty dictionary. Is word false. Okay, get children. So here we're gonna return children. Yes, that seems simple, although it seems like a bad interface, honestly. But it's end of word. It just doesn't abstract anything. Here, end of word is a word find set end of word. Okay, that's all pretty boring. So we also have this root here. Okay, so now we have what's an actual. Oh, did I mess that up? So that's this is a node. Okay, so now I try at the top level. Okay, so here the normal convention would actually use an underscore. I guess I can start to replace that. I don't know how idiomatic I'm supposed to be, but if we're trying to do right good Python and that's private, not that it's enforced, but this would be the convention. So root here is going to be a try node. Great. So we create a try node. See, it's already saved me so much effort. Self word is going to be, I assume, yeah, it's a string here. Current try node equals whatever the root is. Then, okay, now this is where it gets interesting. So I have a string and I want to convert it into something. The other question is what format I'm going to be keeping these things in the first place. Python string to character something. So listen to string, list of characters. What is a character in Python? That's the other question I don't really know the answer to. But oh, so it looks like you can just iterate over them. Okay, that works fine. Probably they're just strings at the end of the day. But anyway, this actually magically works. Huh. I don't know if that's because the AI was particularly smart or particularly stupid, but either way, good for it. L in word card equal current dot children. Okay, wait. There's a perfectly good get children method we're calling children. Okay. Don't know why, but it's called children, so it works. Dot set default. What's that? Compute if absent. Huh. This looks complicated. This is a complicated part here just because I don't know if I know it. Okay, so this presumably takes a lambda, and if it's not, so it either will get L, and if L's not in it, then it will create a new node. What?
What is surprising you?
What's surprising me is that C isn't being used here. So I'm trying to understand the Java code before I get to the Python, right?
Yeah.
So here we're inserting something. So we convert into an array. Okay. Now we're going to get children. We're going to get, maybe I should look more carefully at what this try node is doing, but I mean, we're asking it, okay, if L is, if this character isn't one of the children, then we're going to add into it just a new try. Oh, shoot, right, because it's being stored implicitly in which element of the dictionary as the nodes don't have it. So of course, this is, you don't actually need the value here. Okay, that makes sense. I was just confused for a second about that. Because information about what node we're in is stored only in the parent here. Yeah, makes sense. So current equal, okay, I have no idea what the set default is. I don't even know if it's a real thing. For documentation, of course, there's types. I keep hitting what in VS Code is close window, and of course in Python, Firefox also something, just not what I want. Good thing it prompts me. Python, those would be a lot of closing. Okay, return the value of the specific key not exists with a specific value. Okay, so maybe not as efficient, but really Python. We care about efficiency since when? If we're using it, we don't. So here, but why are we doing C for C in current children? Now that's weird because we're saying set default, and if there's no wait, why is it set default? This is really weird. What is set default doing? Oh, no, it does. Okay, it is what we want. It's a really weird name. But why are we doing this? This should just be a new try node. That's also what I was trying to understand before it was going on, because the Python code did not resemble the Java code, and I wanted to make sure I knew what the Java code was doing. I mean, maybe I'm making a mistake here, but it seems like I just want to start a new blank node then. Okay, so current.end a word. Yeah, that's fine. Again, wait, what? Where on earth did they get end a word from? That's not a thing. Okay, this AI needs help. I guess I'll call set end a word. Okay, so this AI has delusions. Return current, that seems fine. Also, good warning, this AI is an AI, and the artificial is key. Find. Okay, a string is stored in a try. I have a feeling I'm taking a lot more time now than I was in the other one, so I'm gonna try to skimp on types. That'll probably come back to bite me. Current equal root. Okay, so this is, well, let me stick it in here at least. So current's a try node for ch in words. So these are going to be character string something, whatever they are. Node equal, it's a good thing because I don't have to care what Python's giving me. Node equal current dot children. Okay, well this isn't root anyway. This is self dot root, of course, because yeah. I guess I should like explicitness. Huh. Interesting question. Okay, so here we have this is also very bizarre. Why insert bothers returning this. But anyway, find, okay, let's go down ch. Okay, this is totally not going to work. I guess we'll do the same, assuming you're not actually storing none in it. Wait, it is null, right? Yeah, is none, return false. I mean, I'm basically in the idea, the general shape I can get out of here, so I'm not really referring to this too much. So what I'm doing in practice right now, I think, is sort of looking at find, looking at the shape, and then making sure the code makes sense, because at the end of the day, the code shouldn't be that complicated. I could also, I guess, look back at the Java and compare, but anywho, so if node is not none, sorry, return false, current equal node, fine, current dot end of word. Again, is that actually a thing? Probably not. I'll just use the function, which is really what should be used anyway. Why provide nice successor functions and don't use them? Oh yeah, that's really interesting. So apparently the AI had some issues with the different forms of end of word. It just made a compromise and a particularly bad one. Delete self word. Now, I mean, ironically, because I'm using this AI, I actually have far less confidence in this code than in the previous example I did. I feel a likelihood is by doing some testing, I'll be able to figure it out and get it to work. But amusingly, if I just started from this Java code, copy pasted over, I'd probably have more confidence because I'm a lot more scared of what the AI, what sort of bombs it left that I haven't picked up on. That's actually the truth, but I'm trying to use the AI because I'm hoping it'll save me a little bit of time. Although in the end of the day, it might waste more time than it saves in terms of problems that I didn't find. But I already started using it, so let's keep going. This also totally does not work in Python. Oh my God. Does this actually, sorry, I need to ask, is this meant to be API comparative, meaning you want a delete method you can call with different number of arguments, or is it meant to be not? Because if it is, I mean, this is going to be challenging because this is in the wrong order in Python to do that. I mean, there needs to be some compromise here.
I'm sorry. I think that's the kind of question we can't answer. So you'll have
My
to
question is
model it.
about like what the desired compatibility goal is. That's what am I getting, not what I should do.
Yeah, I understand.
You can't answer. Okay, fine.
Sorry.
Use your
Sorry.
best judgment, I think, is the answer
Is
about
what? Sorry.
use your best judgment.
Okay, well, my best judgment is this is a helper function, so it shouldn't be called by the user anyway. So my best function is this is the actual API, and despite this being public, it shouldn't be. The alternative would be to merge
That's a
these
good
two.
idea.
What?
That's a perfectly fine position to take.
Because I mean, Python does allow overloading, but not like that. Yeah. Okay. And as I said, if word was before current, then I could just make these optional, but I can't do that here without. Anyway, fine. Let's keep going. Delete. So we call it with self. Sorry, root word 0, and then we return what? The heck? Okay, I need to look at the original. Wow, this AI has some interesting. What the heck is going on here? Okay, now that's actually making me much more worried about the AI. I'm actually tempted to just go back and start over without it because that honestly terrifies me what it did there. I mean, I guess it was easy to see, and if that were, but that was valid Python. You can return a tuple. Okay, let's continue. If index equals length.word, but I think at this point I'm going to have to like start matching up from the left more. I can't rely on it to have the general shape because it clearly does not always. Why didn't it just copy as end of word? It's actually correct, right? It's like, oh, you had one job, just copy paste. Return false. Current yeah, I'm actually starting to think that this would have worked out better. Copy paste. But that's hard for me to judge, so I guess you guys can figure that out after looking at this. Return current dot children. That tech, yeah. Okay, if it's empty, we'd return true. Okay, fine. Equals word index. Okay, I'm assuming that works because you can break it apart. So we'll just assume that works. Node equal current dot children, which, by the way, there's perfectly fine get children method, so we could be calling that, but children works too. But I don't know why, or the AI seems to treat the helper functions, which are the exact same names as Java and probably better style. But okay. And why it has brackets here, yo. I figured out the none this time. The brackets are just broken. That wouldn't even type. That wouldn't even like pass the checker. Node is none. Okay, fine. That seems correct. Should delete current node equals delete and should delete current node, then current dot children dot pop. Okay, fine, and we don't want it to fail. I assume this doesn't throw an exception is the idea. And so return current dot children. Okay, I'll move to enumerate now, I guess. Although, as I said, the truth is, I apologize. I know it's probably the AI you worked on, but I'm a little bit regretting it in this time frame, at least for this smaller project, because I feel that if I copy pasted and made my own mistakes, if nothing else, I'd have more confidence in where I made the mistakes. And the problem I think that I'm struggling with in terms of my confidence in my code is that I don't yet have a mental model on where the AI screws up. So I'm developing some idea of a model, which is helpful, but that's unfortunate because it means it's hard for me to know, like, most of the errors I had in the previous one, for example, were just copy paste errors. Or, like simple syntactic things or other, like there was one actual error and I knew that's because I took a risk changing the code. And so it was really easy to figure out, ooh, probably that's where I should look. But here, something else did the work and it did it in ways that are both smart and stupid at the same time, which I guess describes me too, but I don't understand it as well. Entry is enumerate string builder root entries. Oh, good lord, what is that? Oh, this is another one of these. Okay, well, I'm again going to take the position that, oh my god, what is happening here? Okay, well, I guess I'm noticing a pattern. It really doesn't like helper functions that it then returns, I guess. What is going on? So it's a new string builder, root and entries. So why is it doing this? You're just calling itself with self.root. I mean, it seems to be just here, self.root. Like again, I feel like I could have just copied over the original and fixed it faster than understanding what was going on here and fixing it that way. Sorry, I'm spending time talking because I think that's part of the point.
Yes, you are. Thank you. It's good. It's
I'm trying to
good.
explain my reactions as opposed to just the code.
I am eating it up. It's great.
Okay, so this needs an underscore here. Was there a recursive call on the other one too that I forgot to underscore? Probably. Self.underscore delete. Okay. Current equal node of current dot is under word. Oh my god, I got it under word correctly here. Unless I already fixed it. That's amazing. Entries dot append. Okay, that actually looks right. Entry dot strip. Why do we need to strip this here? I'm just using a string here anyway, so just Add the entry on, okay. Got it. Not sure. Probably good to actually understand this algorithm, but how much time do I have left?
You have 10 minutes.
Oh, more than I thought. Okay. Does this do the in-place sort? Probably. It is Python. They like their mutations. Oh, there's like sort and sorted, I think, or something like that. But isn't it like, yeah, I thought it was like an external thing. Oh no, it is sort. No, okay. Okay, for key and keys. Entry. Can you do string dot append? It's probably just like this, right? Plus equal, just the key. They're all strings anyway, as far as I can tell. I mean, this is less efficient because in theory we should be storing probably characters in the nodes, but let me get it working, and then once it works, I can just easily switch over to using a character. But since I don't remember what Python characters are or how they work, I think I'll just stick with strings for the initial version. And again, there's probably just as much overhead in a Python character. It's probably a full object with lots of headers and overheads. Enumerate of okay, entry current dot children and entries. Okay, delete char at entry length -1. Yeah, that's pretty much what pop does. Okay, sure. I feel like I should actually stop, understand this code, and then do it, but we'll just go ahead. Why not? Merge. Wait, that's really funny. They actually did an underscore before merge, which, by the way, is a public method. Did I add that? Huh, who knows? Anyway, it's odd to have an underscore since it's not even supposed to be private. Merge. So give it another try. Wait, no, this is a try node. I just realized something. Did I? Oh, yeah. Okay, fine. So give it another try. Oh, this is Python, so I need these. Unless we're in the future. Entries. Okay, this is going to be a list string. Right now I'm using strings at least. Other try dot enumerate. Yes, that does. Oh, wait, this doesn't return anything, so this is wrong. Presumably here this is supposed to return something useful. No, the Java didn't return anything either. Why not? Did I screw this up? So we returned entries. Okay, got it. So this modifies entries in place. Okay, got it. So this is supposed to be return entries. Oops. Okay. Although what's the type here? Maybe that's why I did that. Oh, just a list string. There's a list string character or something. It's fine. Okay. Hopefully. Okay. What do we got here? Merge. Other try to enumerate, and then for entry and entries, insert entry. Okay, and this doesn't appear to actually return anything. So right. Okay. Apparently telling it as a way did not suffice. Okay, wow, I have way less confidence in this code, but let's give it a try, shall we? So let's see, I create a try. Guess I don't need a mega method, but so we create a try. Now we're gonna do x dot insert. Hello. Let's see if that works. It'll be interesting to see. And what do? I probably enumerate. Where's enumerate returning in? Enumerate's going to return the entries, so it's going to return a list of strings. Did I import list here? No, I did not. Probably need to actually mention it's a dict somewhere. Oh, no, apparently not. Okay, so x dot insert hello, for actually just a list of strings, so just print x dot enumerate and see how badly this doesn't work. This does take nothing, right? Yeah, good. Okay, crash and burn. I'm shocked. I tell you, shocked. Okay, this doesn't work because keys can't sort keys. Oh, that's that arrays dot sort. Which whoa, okay, got it. Here we convert it to an array. Ooh, oh, it's the key set. Oh, that would have been good to pay attention to. Wait, this is keys. Wait.
Oh, I blew it. You have 4 more minutes. Bad, Michael.
Okay, so I had a list here because the type of keys is some like key view thing. What's going on here? String has no attribute pop. So I can probably do something like this. See if that works. I guess strings aren't like arrays that way. No remove either. Okay. Fine. Probably use like a slice or something. Oh, that was that R string actually did something. Huh. Oh, seriously? Okay, this is like the ugliest code ever, but there has to be a better way to do this, but I don't care right now. Maybe that's the code that was there before and just looked so wrong that I ignored it. That's possible. I would believe that. Okay, oh, something printed. Woohoo! That was impressive. Let's actually first, let's be conservative here. Okay, so that's a bug right there. That's one bug. Let's go for 2 bugs. Woohoo! More bugs! So happy. Okay, so it looks like what's happening is we're adding an extra character in. So there's something wrong. Maybe this R strip actually. What happens if I comment it out? Let's see what goes on. The exact same thing. So this is the broken part. So entry equals entry. Let's try that. Oh, wait a second. Shoot. Maybe this is totally not going to work because entry isn't actually being mutated. In this code here, were we mutating entry? Yeah, we were mutating entry. Ah, shoot. So this is an issue. So what are we doing with this entry anyway? Okay, this is totally not going to work because I'm not understanding something. Oh, it did work. Why did it work? Yeah, I don't care. Type random things. Let's try th. Okay, well, this might actually work. That's pretty cool. Let me try one more, a nice one hit, and let's make sure the end of word detection is working. Oh, it is. Huh, okay, well, this seems to work too. The funny thing is, well, it seems to work. It may have taken less time. I actually still feel a little queasier. Maybe it's because I got lazy since I didn't like actually try to understand this code as well. And I'm like, oh, I already have something. All I need to do is muck with it and fix it up. But as I did it, I realized that what I'm fixing up may not actually sort of be correct in the first place in various ways. And that was scarier than taking something correct, copying it over where it's still correct, just in the wrong language, and I can fix that. So I guess I have more confidence in my ability to fix the language problem than fix like actual possibly semantic bugs introduced. I think that's yeah, I think that's how I feel. Anyway, I think I'm basically done. I'll assume the comments are all happy and everything. If it messed that up, then I don't know what to say.
Well, fair enough, and we're just out of time. So, wow, thank you. I need to go back to my script and see what I'm supposed to say to you next. Steve, thanks again for filling in data in Steve notation while I was filling in the data in Michael notation in the spreadsheet.
No problem. The terrific job, I'll be talking about.
Thank you.
Yes, you did. You are amazing. Okay, here's the next survey thing to fill out. Oh, but please save that first. Yes.
Yeah, I did. I hit save,
Thank
went
you.
to file save, and pound S, and every other thing I could think of.
You are very good.
One more time for good luck if you want. When it comes to saving, it's all about good luck and you know.
Very good.
Okay, here we go. P10, I believe you said.
You are P10. It is true.
Agrees. This is the AI one. Data structure was a trie or tree, I guess, according to the official pronunciation. And apparently I'm required to again say that I did not read the privacy policy. Okay. How mentally demanding was this task? You know, I actually felt like this one was worse. I'm going to do this more like a 14. Because I said that the worry about semantic errors was more stressful for me than just compiling something. How hard or space the task? I don't know. I mean, I finished it in time, so I'm still rating it a little harder because I felt more stressed about time, even though at the end it worked out okay. That's partially because I think I didn't build as deep of a model like to understand what was going on. Although again, tries are pretty simple, so maybe I did, and I'll do it 11. I don't know. What you were asked to do. I mean, I think it worked, so not that I had extensive testing. How hard do you have to work? I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to answer this. It's took the same amount of time. I'll call it 11 for the same reason that I felt like it was more stressful because I said semantic concerns are much more challenging than syntactic ones. I'm gonna put this like a 3 or 4 as opposed to my previous one. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not a lot of code, so I wasn't very stressed because I could always throw it away and redo it. So gave the AI a try. Initially tried fixing it sort of in place. When I noticed problems that were more worrying, started looking back at the Java code to compare more carefully. As I said, the reality is, though, I mean, I finished it faster, so maybe the AI is great, and I just need to get over my my own insecurities. I'm not do you feel unfair the Java implementation, the data structure works? And by the end of it, I mean, the reality is it's not a hard data structure. Tries are, especially unoptimized tries, I mean, unoptimized tries are really easy. No compression or anything. I mean, like a realistic try would have compressed common, you know, prefixes. They wouldn't have done a single character per thing. And that might have made the code a little more complicated, I guess. How would you regard the quality of the provided translation? I don't know. I feel bad. I feel like I'm like passing judgment on the AI, but I would say acceptable. I mean, it certainly could save time, but yeah, I don't know. It was bizarre also. Why? I mean, some bizarre issues, some bizarre naming issues, like instead of picking either the property name or accessor method, did some compromise. I think maybe I just didn't read it carefully enough, but it looked like I was doing some compromise that that doesn't work. Some issues with return and a bizarre join that I quickly just deleted. Was nervous. Yeah, I mean, honestly, for all I'm an AI researcher, I'm not sure about this one or this one. I'm not really, I'm not really don't have a lot of faith in AI despite redoing research in it. So, I'll say better than I expected, I guess. Although, I guess I don't know if this is going to come up, but I would note being a straightforward compiler person, that's maybe a hybrid where some of the AI was done and some like just stuff that we know how to do correctly. That's also, I guess, part of my thing. I mean, I'll try to fill it in here, but because I have a deep background in programming languages and compilers, when there are things that I feel like this should have been done correctly, like we know how to do this, then having it wrong is just sort of irritating because I just feel the AI is inferior to what should is this current state of the art is without AI. Now, that doesn't mean, I mean, the AI may be a lot less effort and can generalize to many languages, yada yada. I'm not saying it's not a good effort, but it's particularly irksome to me when that happens because like I've written control flow, analyses and done this stuff
Mhm.
in a non-AI way. So I think I'm very heavily biased that way. What do you feel provide the translations were useful? Somewhat. I mean, it certainly saved me typing. Had errors, somewhat. I don't think a great deal is honest. It made me nervous. Also, I really care about correctness, so you wouldn't tell that from my testing, but after you complete the task, yeah, it helped. Did not at all help me understand the original Java code. In fact, I felt it caused me to be lazy and, if anything, understand it less, although it wasn't a big deal. Taught something new. I mean, I'm going to go with not at all, because the reality is it may have tried to teach me something new, and I immediately deleted it and put in something I understood. So maybe that join thing at the end of the day was correct, but I didn't trust it. Did you feel that it provided me your work in this task difficult versus easy? Honestly, I'm gonna say it felt more difficult, although again, when you're poring over it, you might come to a different conclusion. That's my subjective feeling. I would made me slower. Although again, it's also hard to explain slower because in terms of raw typing, I don't know, maybe it made it faster. Not a very fast typer. I'm gonna say this one. Honestly, I'm gonna go with -2 here because I feel more strongly about that one. And I'm gonna say here the most useful skipped saved me typing, which I don't enjoy. Anyway, so that's good. In terms of the least useful, it caused me to try and essentially reuse as much as possible, even if were I to do it from scratch. I may have done it differently. I mean, in this case, because I'm copying from the Java, I probably would have done things pretty closely from the Java, although I will note that, for example, there were times it used properties and the Java used an accessor, and I'm like, why not use an accessor? And it was just, hey, the code's there. It looks like, yeah, it works. Why do more typing, right? The whole point is to save effort, so I'm going to be lazy. Whereas I had done it from scratch, I feel I may have done things slightly differently, or which again, for this small example, doesn't really come out, but I feel that was actually a negative, that it sort of caused me to make some choices out of laziness that may not have been the same as had I done it from scratch. Now, again, it's very minor here because I'm copying from the Java anyway. Were more translations provided for you? I don't really understand how to answer that question. There was one translation of the Java code into Python.
Yeah, they were not provided to you. Some people got multiple translations, but you did.
So should I skip it or just say I was try with enough? Like I don't understand. What would you like me to fill out here, given that it's basically
That's
not
a good
applicable?
question.
It's
Why
got
don't you leave it blank because that'll probably tip us off that that question shouldn't have been there for you.
Given there's a
Um,
star, it may complain.
It's a start. Will complain. It'll eventually require you to fill in something. I'm really
Yes.
sorry. That's a mistake
I
on our
don't
part.
care.
Oh,
Just
okay.
tell me what you'd like me to fill in. It's your data.
I'm looking. Yeah, I might as well do that one, but I'll make a note that it's inappropriate.
Well,
Thank you.
okay,
enough.
I guess, you know, if you think you would have liked to have seen more different translations, then you could say,
yeah.
I'd like to have seen more, as opposed to,
Okay, I'm gonna be annoying and
you
do
know,
this.
I don't want any.
Here, this will punish you for making it required.
Okay.
What could have been more useful to you? I mean, so the problem is, I guess, basically what this presupposes is that I use the translations to better understand the Java code. And the problem with this is completely incorrect. I understood the Java code better than I understood the translations, and I use the translations to save me typing. And so as a result, I mean, I don't understand how more translations, I mean, then I guess I could have looked at them and picked which one was the closest to correct. So I could have saved more typing, but beyond that, I don't see any value in more translations. For
This
me, I
particular
understand other people
question,
use it differently.
I don't know, Michael, am I allowed to clarify the question? Because it seems like he's answering the wrong one.
I think you are, yes. And I think this is going to tell us how we need to rewrite the question. So this is really important.
This question is about additional information other than the translation, or in addition to the translation. What else could we have told you that would have helped you with the process?
Actually, here, concern points. It would have been perhaps nice to know, like, if the AI said, hey, this is not a high probability thing, like with that weird join thing going on, and explicitly marked, why don't you look at this?
Yeah. Exactly.
That might have been helpful if there was a way to concern points, comments about which part of the code. Just interestingly, right, I still would have looked at all the code, but I think I would have come away having much more confidence had the code self-marked as this might be wrong, as opposed to looking at it going, oh my God, that looks wrong, and then starting to doubt everything.
Yeah.
So I think having some feeling that the code was aware there were problems would have given me more confidence in the other things that weren't marked, and I would have just quickly skimmed them and not been scared. If you want, I'll try to write all that, but I don't type very fast.
That's all right. We recorded it.
And I also took notes. So perfect.
Yes,
Thank you.
given a programmer, like, I don't actually type that fast. I probably should work on that, but in general, it's typed fast enough, I guess.
I think you're good at what you do.
What extent would AI-supported code translation be helpful? My normal work conditions don't involve translating code between languages. Okay, working code that only I would use. Sure, I'll take that one, although I don't know why I'm translating it, but if I have to translate it for some reason, definitely helpful for code only I would use because it's not as stressful if it works or not. When working alone, okay, no, because at the moment I would just be way too scared. Experimental prototype code. So there I would take it. It can be very helpful somewhat. I mean, the problem is like that I just also have a somewhat disbelief in machine learning in AI, and I really like my code being correct. But for experimental prototype code, I'll take it. Although again, I don't know why I'm translating it. I can't just run it in the original language. Working in a large team. So I could imagine for a large team, it does the structure and then it's easier to break up. So I would imagine this being moderately helpful, but you can do that manually too. Just give up different functions. So yeah, actually, at some point I'll finish in the survey and I have some other interesting comment about. Well, actually, I'll mention that the other thing here that I actually have done a interesting code or participated in a code translation project in a different domain, just as an interesting point, which did not use AI, it was manual. And actually, given that, let me update these a little bit because one thing that I found very useful was that I copied over the structure and comments. That actually was the most useful part for this, and I think in general, although it's not clear you need AI for that, but I'll take it. So, which actually, interestingly, was we had code written in a language in Coq, which is an interactive theorem prover, and you could extract it, you could fully verify it. And at some point, this code was for a query compiler, and we were going to transfer it over to a product team, which later got disbanded, so that didn't happen. But IBM. But before they got disbanded, we were going to transfer it over, and shockingly, they didn't want to maintain code written in Coq, the interactive theorem prover, then extracted through to OCaml and compiled from OCaml into Java. Amazingly, they didn't think that was maintainable by them. So, can't imagine why. So we actually translated it into Java, where we translated the entire thing. We basically did it function by function, like we had this, translation here, this optimization, and we had ways to go back and forth at each stage so we could run extensive testing comparing them, and we had comments saying this function corresponds to this. And that was actually very different languages, not like Python and Java. This was a functional, like OCaml, basically style, like in Coq, into Java. And that worked out quite well. We actually had a paper documenting our process, interestingly enough, in CFP. But it worked out well until our team got disbanded. So for that, but again, you notice the emphasis on correctness, which for me was a big deal. But I can imagine this would have been very helpful, sort of as a template to start from. Certainly, like the definition of the functions and the rough code. Oh, that's something that would be helpful. Comments about which parts of the code to scrutinize. Either as comments or in the IDE. The original Java code. That actually would have been enormously helpful because in practice, right, after I decided I really had to look at the Java code and I couldn't just look at the Python, I had to go looking back and forth, which I guess wasn't too hard. It's mostly line by line, but it would have been really helpful if the IDE sort of matched them up for me and said, here's the Python code I translated. While you're staring at it, here's the Java. Does it look right? Like a diff basic kind of style view where it either highlighted or put in comments that could be auto deleted later or something. For me, that would have been very valuable. Not very, because it's not that hard to look, but I'm saying if you're looking for things that would have been helpful, that was the methodology I used, was looking back and forth. When code is used for a mission critical application, oh my God, no. That's not a comment in your system particularly. When code correct is important, not at all. Runtime. In that case, probably really helpful to give a framework. And if a million lines of code, what's a few more bugs? It already has enough of them. When it's a language I'm unfamiliar, I guess very appropriate, but I'm biased because I pick up languages really quickly, so I feel that's not really an issue ever. To a language I'm unfamiliar. So again, I'll say very appropriate, but the concern is that, I'd have to learn the language anyway because this is not going to be fully automated. I don't know. I guess in these cases, we'll say very appropriate. I'm just going to say extremely appropriate, especially if I'm coming. I'll say extremely appropriate because truthfully, if it was translated from COBOL into this, it would have been. In fact, I'm going to leave it very appropriate. There's a question that wasn't asked here, but I'm going to answer anyway. And the one I would say where it would be extremely helpful is when the languages are very different syntactically. Because again, since most of the benefit I got from it was saving on typing and changing syntax, if I'm going to have to look at each line and make sure semantically it lines up, it'd be awfully nice if it started in COBOL and ended in OCaml if I didn't have to really do all that writing and could just sort of patch up the things. Whereas here, Java and Python, honestly, for the subset of Java being used and Python being used, aren't actually very different. And so, you saw in the first example, you delete the semicolons, delete the braces, add a colon or two, got rid of parentheses for style points so that they were legal technically, and move the types after the variable declaration. But it wasn't all that hard. So if the languages were very much different, I'd have a very different opinion and be like, yes, thank you. Now I just have to look at them, but I don't have to type. So that's good. As opposed to the manual work that wasn't very hard of deleting a few semicolons, I'd rather have confidence that nothing else got changed. So that wasn't asked, but for me, I think that's actually the domain where I think this would have been the most helpful. Useful each of these kinds of AI models be for real code translation work. I don't know how to answer this.
Because?
because I really care about correctness, whereas I'm aware that in practice it's often not as big of a deal. So if I fix one problem in 100,000 lines of code, that might be great because, hey, you started off, your code probably had 30 bugs. Now it has 40 bugs. Okay, who cares? So you could just run it and be happy. But if you actually need to find that bug, God help you. Whereas on the other hand, if you had one problem per line of code, it's a lot more work to fix, but you're probably going to find more of the bugs. Although, you'll probably let a few slip through anyway. So, I mean, certainly this is more helpful in terms of a productivity point of view. Although if you actually need to find that bug, depends, I guess, what bug it was. If it's some of the bugs in the existing thing that you run the code once and you find it, I guess it's helpful. So I'll do that. Extremely useful. This is getting to very useful. This is getting to moderately useful. This is getting to, I mean, it really depends on how much typing it saves me at this point. I mean, at these points, uh, it's slightly useful if it really saves me typing, but honestly, I'm going to say not at all because at this point, I'm more worried it will slip something through because it looks more correct because it's in the language, as opposed to when I'm doing it where I know it's wrong, and so I'm going to actually pay more attention. It's so much easier to slip in like a stupid bug in something that's already looks correct-ish.
Yep.
In fact, I'm going to downgrade these also for that reason, for the 100 also, because it's not that much, but again, I'm lazy, so I'll do that. I'm trying to talk while I answer it because I realize that they're sort of arbitrary choices in many cases. Okay, what did I miss? Go to the first row. That was a helpful thing. Did I forget what I did?
Oh, the first 3 rows of question. Yeah, you're there.
Oh,
23.
oh, sorry. Okay. Be helpful. Normal working conditions. Moderately under time pressure, it's a scary thing because on the one hand, it could be really helpful. On the other hand, it might take longer to find the problems, right? If you get lucky, it's faster. If you have to debug it extensively. When I'm working alone, actually, I'm going to say for this one, very helpful. And honestly, this, because of the syntax things, honestly, I think I am going to be pessimistic and downgrade these. This might be arrogance, but I actually feel that I am more likely to notice and find problems than some others. Not because they're like bad, but just these kind of semantic problems because I care more about them. And I feel that's actually, if I'm working with other people, I'm much more scared of them just saying it's good enough. It compiles now, and the AI tool said it works, and that actually terrifies me. If I have to work on the code also. I'll leave it here, but I'm just explaining that might be hubris. I'm fine if it is. Um, then again, I'm being optimistic about my own feelings on it. So my experience with the task, I don't know. Do I have to write anything? I think I talked enough.
It's up to you.
I'm gonna say syntactic savings and structural alignment. Very helpful. My lack of a good mental model for errors is scary.
Okay.
It's not that I know where all my mistakes are either, but certainly if I'm translating like something like that, I have a decent idea. Like, I mean, you saw it's pretty easy to figure out roughly where the pain points are. Okay, well done. So thank you.
Okay, we have one more questionnaire for you, which is about the entirety of the session. You'll see
Okay.
some comparisons, and here it is. You're still P10.
How would you compare Excel relationship without AS4 with AS support? Let's see, completion suggestions and Basically, I feel like I want to be more part of the loop, and so I'm wondering if, again, this is just off the top of my head, where something where instead of just giving me the answer and then having me look over it, which I find, as I said, looking over a final product is challenging. And this is because for a couple of reasons, I think. One is because people, when you see something already written in the language you're doing that purports to be done, it's easy to just believe it and sort of skip problems and have your mind go over things. Um, and right, and then it's hard for me to know what's going on. So if it's interactive, it certainly would have saved me typing. And I could then also, I could just be like, oh, this is wrong, and just ignore it and figure out that line for myself if needed, but then still help on other things. And that would have felt a lot, I guess, less scary because if it makes a mistake, I see, oh, it's translating this, it's doing this. I don't know if I believe that. Let me just do it, or let me really stare at it. So it sort of forces me to look at every point, which, while may in theory take more time, at the end of the day, gives me a better feeling that it's correct. Now, that might not scale to millions of lines of code, but um, all I can do for now is like this smaller example. I mean, for millions of lines of code, you may just have to press the button and pray, but what gender do I most identify? Male. So primarily a researcher, scientist. Used AI, unfortunately. Well, actually, I've used AI. I don't know if I actually really used AI as part of my work. I've run AI experiments, and I guess depends what I mean by use. Like use like a tool like this that's like helped me with my job? Or do you mean written code that used machine learning models, although really for experiments?
I
It's a
think
bit
we just have to
tricky.
ask you to do your best interpretation and go with it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I'm just struggling because I'm in a bit of an odd position where I'm
Yeah.
an AI researcher, but I don't actually use AI. Yes, over a year ago, but I definitely did some intensive ones. Well, actually, within a year, I guess I took some of the Python code and translated it into Rust. I don't really start with a Python code though, so I guess over a year ago. Um, yeah, I've done a bunch, including Java to TypeScript and all sorts of fun AI machine learning. So I'm going to say no for that. Kind of code translation. Okay, let's see. Coq to Java, Java to TypeScript. Um, let's see. I think I might have done some, what was it, from OCaml to Java for a bit. There was a little bit of that. Oh no, OCaml to, oh yeah, definitely OCaml to Coq. There was, oh, JavaScript. Um, there was maybe a little Python to Rust. Bash to Sanity. I don't remember which language, but I don't know. I guess that seems fine. Sure, sounds good. It was fun. I probably have a different perspective than some.
That's the beauty of it. Thank
Right. I
you.
mean, I am in this weird situation where I'm actually an AI researcher. My background is both PL and intensive, more like data, like this kind of coding and stuff. So,
Okay, we did all the stuff we needed to do. You get to ask questions around now, or declare that it was terrible, or denounce us, or compliment us, or whatever you like.
okay. Definitely will not say it's terrible. I have a deep-seated suspicion of most machine learning things. That maybe because I've used them. Um, Part of it is because, as a caveat, right, that my background is like really formal methods, and I like do formal theorem proving, type systems, lots of fun things like that. And I'm not really so much for experimental sciences. And machine learning fundamentally is more close to what a like, bio person does in a lab than it is to what I do. Like they basically run a bunch of experiments. As I compare it to often, it's throwing darts, and whichever one sticks the highest, you write a paper and declare it was the best. I know some of them have real math behind them, but right, this is the joke that machine learning papers, the first half has the beautiful equation, the second half explains what fudge factor you added to give you the numbers you got. Um, so, right, so that's my underlying thing. There are parts of this that are very helpful. Certainly, as I said, the structural and support part, it's hard for me to say on a large database whether, maybe this would be amazing, sort of like, when you do dictation, or my wife does, right? Do dictation, and then you have to fix the mistakes, but there's only maybe 5 of them, so it's a lot better than writing it yourself. I don't know how that translates to code. I actually just don't have a good answer. It may be this is totally the right thing to do, just make it a little better, and someone will find those few bugs and you're done. I will say I would have had a lot more confidence if there was a test suite, and that test suite had also been translated. Because yeah, there could be bugs in the test suite or the code, sure. But at least hopefully they wouldn't line up, and so you'd hopefully find them all. So that actually would have been helpful. I mean, I wrote some quick tests for both, and they magically worked, which was probably just luck. But on the other hand, certainly for a larger code base where I do not have confidence in getting it that right that quickly, tests are helpful. And I don't actually like writing tests. So if they were already written, presumably in the old code base and translated, that would be awesome.
Fair enough.
Otherwise, yeah, I think what you're doing is good. I mean, if you're going to do machine learning, it's great to help support programmers. Yeah, I don't know if I have any other particular comments. If you have any other questions for me, either about the study or however, please.
I'm looking over a list of things that we could talk about. Steve, if you want to join in it in any way, that
Sure.
would be lovely.
So we didn't develop the AI that you were experiencing there. It's actually from Facebook.
Oh, well, in that case, let me dump on it.
Yeah. Well, you should know that for your case, we deliberately brain damaged it. So the translations that you were dealing with were hobbled, shall we say. We hobbled the AI so that it wasn't giving its best guess at what the code should be, but its 10th best guess.
Okay,
At
sorry.
each point, for each token, it was taking its 10th best choice. So I just lost your sound. I can't.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. That was on purpose. I said.
Yeah, I apologize.
No problem. I thought.
Yeah, well, okay, that makes me feel better about the machine learning part because parts of it did feel somewhat brain damaged.
It was in fact like literally brain damage, but the best translation it could do wouldn't have been perfect either. There would still be mistakes in it, but I don't know, maybe half as many, a third as many, something like that. Yeah. So the real question that we've been studying is, okay, given that translation technology isn't perfect, is it, are software developers gonna want to trust it? Are they gonna want to use it? Is it going to be valuable? Will it, send you off on wild goose chases after wrong code, and it'd be harder to debug than doing it yourself, even if you had to type the whole thing yourself. So that's what we're studying now, and so we're varying how bad it is, as well as how many translations we give, and whether we give any at all.
That makes sense. I mean, structurally it lined up hopefully, right? That's not too hard. So given that it's structurally lined up and the initial code was right, I mean, it sort of can't be too off, because if it got sufficiently annoying, I just would have deleted the content of the method and rewritten it.
Right.
Which you said several times you were tempted to do. So take that seriously too. Yeah.
But
yeah,
at some point there's a question of how much effort is it to understand the code when the original code's actually easier to understand and just convert.
Ooh.
I've said a number of times, there's a sour spot, right? If it's terrible, then you just throw it away, and you're really no worse off than you were if you just had to do it yourself. And if it's great, well, it's obviously it's a big win. And if it's in the middle, well, at some point it might be harder to fix the translation than it would be to write it yourself. And that's an open question, whether it actually would be harder to whether
Yeah.
we can make it bad enough that it's harder to fix, but good enough that you don't realize that.
Avi, I think at one point you said, well, if it would copy over the comments and the structure, that would be helpful, but I don't think that's AI. And I'm wondering now that we're done, is that still what you're thinking? That structure and comments might be all that you really would want to have copied over?
I mean, some of the other, like, again, it depends on how you define structures. So certainly the outer structure and comments, yeah, that would have been helpful. Would it actually have been faster at that point? I don't know. But it may have been, because I feel in some sense, right, there's a question of cognitive load. And I feel that copying the Java into Python and changing it is a lot less mental energy than looking at the Python code and seeing, is it actually right? And does it do the same thing as the Java?
Yeah.
So it may have actually been faster had the entire thing just been copied. And then, I mean, like, this is all, trivial. I mean, this method here, right, insert, it's pretty easy to just redo it. And I would have copied over selective things, but this compute if absent struck me for a little, just because it's actually probably the most complicated thing in the entire code base in both Java and the Python. And I believe the Python got it wrong. But
It did,
again,
but it also pointed you at set default, right?
right, which was handy, and I totally would not have known. I probably would have just wound up writing this as like 3 lines because I didn't know about set default. And while I might have found it, honestly, it has a really bad name.
Yes, indeed.
The Java name is longer, but actually makes a lot more sense. So, yeah.
Another thing that you said often was scary. And so I'm thinking, a moment ago you said it might have been faster one way. Would it have also been scarier that way, or less
If I did it, no, a lot less scary, right? I wasn't scared at all my first task.
Okay.
The scary part is looking at it because you told me the Java code was correct. Now, I didn't completely trust you, obviously. I mean, I still used my brain while looking at it and made sure I had some idea what it was doing, but I assumed I didn't have to test, like, check these edge cases or off by 1 errors because you probably already got those right. The Python code, God knows, right, what it's doing a priori. So if I copy the Java over, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to randomly introduce an off by 1 error that wasn't there. Not because I never have off by 1 errors, but because they're pretty much you didn't do a -1 or a less than, and that doesn't change between languages. So whereas the AI, the problem again is I don't have a model for how it screws up. So for all I know, it would do a less than or equal instead of a less than because some other code base it was trained on did that. I don't know. And so, especially with AI, I don't have that model. And so it's a lot scarier because it's sort of like this, you never know where there's a trap around.
Yes.
The lack of trust.
You never know where the traps are. And that's like scary. As opposed to here, where I know the traps are. They're my they're my mistakes and I copy them. And I have a pretty good model on what kind of mistakes I'm going to introduce. And on which parts are like the high risk parts of the code versus the, okay, there might be a mistake there, but it's going to really stupid one that's easy to find.
Got it.
I tried to talk about those as I was doing it, like where the difference.
That was great.
You did. It was wonderful. Yeah.
Much appreciated.
Okay. I think we're close to the end of the 2 hours. So is there anything else you wanted to say, Avi?
No, it was fun though. I'm happy to participate again if you have another study.
Thank you. Great to know that. The team lead, Justin, will be sending you 250 blue points. And thank you for all of the insights you gave us.
Thank you. And if you do find some form of IRB or something through this process, please follow up and send me the info or any other info you develop because it's really irritating.
Yes, we need to do that. It's just a question of how it fits into a priority list. Well, you know this. It's already too long.
Same with us. That's why, I mean, I'll pass on to you if we find something also.
Please do. Yes, that would be good. Okay, thank you. This has been really a pleasure. Thank you for your sense of humor and your insights as we did this.
Sure.
Thanks, Avi.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Michael, stop the recording.
Yes, I'm just doing that now.